Today, we are going to explore what might be the single most incredible story in the entire universe. It's a 9-month epic, the journey from one single cell into a fully formed human being. And it's happening right now, all around us. So let me start with a question for you. What if I told you that the most complex thing we know of, the human being, was constructed from literally nothing but a single cell in just 9 months? Well, it's not a what if. It's exactly what happens. And that's the journey we're about to take. So where does this unbelievable story begin? Well, it starts with a race. And not just any race, an absolutely epic one. We're talking about 250 million competitors, all surging towards one single prize. But only one can win. This isn't a movie. This is the very first moment of conception. And from there, the first week is just a blur of activity. On day 1, we have our winner. Conception happens. By day 5, that single cell has already multiplied into a tiny ball of over 100 cells. And by day 7, it finds its new home, implanting itself. Just like that, the journey has officially begun. And, maybe the most incredible part of this beginning is that it all happens in secret. There are no signs, no symptoms, nothing on the outside to suggest that inside, the most extraordinary construction project in nature is already underway. Okay, so let's get into the first major phase, trimester 1. The best way to think about these first 13 weeks is like laying the foundation. This is where all the essential blueprints for a human being get drawn up. But before you can build the main structure, you gotta build the support system. A protective little bubble, the amniotic sac, forms. And the placenta, which is the absolute lifeline for the next 9 months, starts to develop. Then around week 5, something truly miraculous happens. A tiny heart, smaller than a pinhead, starts to beat. Now, to really understand the sheer speed of this growth, just look at this. At week 5, we're talking about something the size of a poppy seed, with a brand new heartbeat. Fast forward just 3 weeks to week 8, and it's now the size of a raspberry. And get this, all of its major organs are already there. It's just breathtaking. That milestone at week 8 is so huge, it actually comes with a name change. It's not an embryo anymore. It's now officially a fetus, which basically means offspring, a title that signals that all the big important parts are now in place. So, as we close out this first act, our little hero is about 3 inches long, about the size of a lime. It's already making tiny fists, and importantly, the most dangerous part of the journey is over. The risk of things going wrong drops a lot from this point forward. Now we head into trimester 2. A lot of people call this the golden period. This is where things get really active. We're talking about massive growth and a real awakening of the senses. All right, time for a little mid-story puzzle. We know that by now, the baby can kick and move, and can actually hear sounds from the outside world, like its mother's voice. But what about another sense? Can it taste anything in there? The answer might surprise you. So the answer is yes, the fetus is living in this rich, sensory world. It can hear you, and it can definitely taste. Flavors from what the mother eats, garlic, spices, sweets, they actually pass into the amniotic fluid, giving the baby its very first food experiences. It's even developing sleep cycles and has REM sleep, which suggests it might even be dreaming. Just think about that for a second. And right around week 18 or 20, a moment comes that so many parents wait for. It's called the quickening, a really beautiful old-fashioned term for those first tiny butterfly-like flutters of movement. For the mother, this is often the moment it all becomes incredibly real. All of this incredible development leads us to a really critical milestone. At week 24, we hit a major turning point in the entire journey. This is known as the age of viability. So what does viability actually mean? Well, it means that if the baby were born at this stage, it has a fighting chance, somewhere between a 50 to 70% chance of surviving with a lot of medical help. It's a tough road for sure, but from this point on, every single day inside makes that chance of survival go up and up. As the second trimester wraps up, the baby weighs around 2 pounds and is about the size of a head of cauliflower. And in a massive leap forward, its eyelids, which were fused shut this whole time, can now open and close. It can see. And that brings us to the home stretch, trimester 3. This is the final countdown. It's all about packing on weight, maturing the final systems, and getting everything ready for the big day. The baby's body is basically running its final pre-launch checklist. It's gaining about half a pound every single week, its lungs are getting fully mature, and its bones stay soft, especially the skull, to make the journey out a little easier. And then it drops down into position, ready to go. Now, don't think the baby is just sitting around waiting. Nope, it's busy. As you can see here, its time is split between practicing breathing movements, sleeping a lot, stretching out in what's becoming a very cramped space, and of course, packing on those last few pounds. And that final growth spurt is really something else. At week 36, the baby is about the size of a honeydew melon. But just 4 weeks later, on its due date, it's grown to the size of a small watermelon. It's fully cooked and ready for the world. But here's a fun fact that might surprise you. After all that preparation and all that talk about due dates, only about 5% of babies actually show up on their exact due date. Most of them decide to come a little early or a little late. And that leads us to the final beautiful mystery of this whole story. What actually starts labor? What's the trigger? Well, it turns out it's not one thing. It's more like a complex, elegant dance, a conversation of hormones between the baby and the mother that together decide, okay, it's time. From a single cell to a breathing, thinking, unique person in just 9 months. The scale of it, the precision, the sheer wonder, it's almost too much to wrap your head around. So, I'll leave you with this question. What part of this incredible journey amazes you the most?